So today's session is really, really, really important. And the reason I'm saying that, because I want to talk about the truths about manifestation, which most people don't understand, which are not talked about. I saw myself struggling for years and years, and I see these common patterns all the time. And it's like really breaking things down to really make it clear and help you understand what are the common patterns and themes we get, like the blind spots, which we don't realize that we are not doing or we get stuck at. And the point of this session is to really make it clear, like break down and simplify it as much as I possibly can, so that after this session, you can tell yourself, you know what, I really get it. Because there was a time in my life where every single day I would tell myself, you know what, today I really get it. And then tomorrow I would say the same thing. And day after I would just say the same thing. And now when I'm sharing this with you, I'm sharing, I really get it of all those years. I really get it today. So all those accumulation, I really get it. I want to share it. And I also want to share, why is it that sometimes we feel like it's not working? Why is it sometimes we're like, I don't know what to do next. I'm not sure. Am I doing anything wrong? This is the biggest thing. Am I doing everything right? Do I need to be doing something else? Am I doing it wrong? Am I doing enough? All these questions. Why it's not working? Is it taking longer? Is it taking faster? All the things, right? We will discuss in this session. And at the end of it, you can ask questions, but I will start with it so I stay in the flow. And if you have any questions, write them down and we will tackle them at the end of the session. And of course, you can message me afterwards if there is anything that comes up. Okay. So the most interesting part is that we want to manifest and we have no idea how we're going to get there. Most of the time, the things we are manifesting are quite big. Like, we don't know the how. If we knew the how, we would have done it. We wouldn't be doing this visualization and all those things. We would have done it. Yeah, I know how to do this. We are going to the next level where it's out of our conscious awareness, in a sense that success mechanism is not installed. We haven't done it before. So we are all manifesting things that we haven't done before, right? So we don't know how to manifest them. We are working and co-creating in alignment with universe, right? But strangely enough, also I used to be that one that we want things to be our own way. We want things to be the way we plan. But we don't know how we're going to get there. So what plan? What plan are we talking about? Why we expect everything to go according to our plan, the way we assume that the things should go, the way we think that the bridge of incidents unfold. Why? We don't know how to get there. So our plan can, even if we try to say, this is how it should work, we don't know how it's going to be. So the biggest thing with manifestation is that we don't know how we're going to get there. And I have heard this 99% of the time, even in my case, that the way we think it should happen, it never happens that way. Never, ever. Usually, 99% of the time, it happens a different way. Because we don't know the how. We really don't know the how. If we knew, we would have done it. Right? Now, what I've seen is as an instinct, because we have been living that life for so long, we try to force a plan. So we have this underlying expectation that this should happen at this time, this should happen at this time, and this should happen this way. And when it doesn't happen that way, we question, what am I doing wrong? And the answer is, this is what you're doing wrong, because you're questioning what you're doing wrong. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing that you're doing wrong. It's all happening. And I love the way the father of psychology, James, he said, that's how you jam the process of your subconscious mind. You jam the whole process. What am I doing wrong? It's not working. So the whole thing was going, it was co-creating, everything was happening. And you ask, what am I doing wrong? Now, I want to share with you one of my examples, and to really help you understand how it can happen and how it does happen sometimes. So when I went to a certain growth level in my business, I wanted next level. Of course, I was visualizing, I was doing all the things. And all of a sudden, the flow and the things, the goals which I achieved so far, they started falling apart and they were not working. At that time, I had two choices. One, what am I doing wrong? oh, why the things which were happening before are not working anymore? Or the other choice could be to say, you know what, it's working, because the old way is not working anymore, because the new way is coming. And I know Christine said it, chemicalization, and that's what we use usually, this terminology, and there are different ways to say it, but it's the chemicalization process where old things first have to break apart. Things have to sometimes fall apart before new things are creating. So it's like a chemical process. If you want to make a new compound in chemistry, or you're doing a chemical reaction, the old has to break and make the new one. It's the same process. So, but when the old is breaking or the old way is not working, we say, oh, what am I doing wrong? You're not doing anything wrong. It's working. So I have learned this now, to always, in that situations when things are quite below what I was expecting, it's almost like you feel like you're going in the opposite direction. And I remember Bob Proctor used to say that it feels like I'm going in the opposite direction. I need to be going forward, I'm going backwards. At that time, if you really understand, you know that it's working. It has to work by law. So sometimes you feel like you're going backward, but actually you're taking a route which is taking you there. So it's like if you say to a travel company, I want you to take me to Paris, wherever you are right now, I want to go to Paris, right? And they plan your trip, they do everything. And in the middle of the trip, you're saying, oh, what am I doing wrong? I can't see Paris anywhere. They're saying, but we're taking you there. No, but I don't know where Paris is. You're taking me in a plane, and then you did this and you did this. Where is Paris? But it's all working, right? So sometimes we feel like, oh, I'm going backward. Then the question is, according to who you're going backward. It's not the circumstance, it's the meaning that you give it to it. It's the perception that you hold about the circumstance. So sometimes you ask something from the universe or God, and then you get a completely thing which is like, oh my God, it is so hard. And actually that thing in itself is taking you there. So the way Napoleon Hill said, he said, behind every success, like every success that comes, it comes hidden behind the failure. And at that time, I see this pattern all the time. What am I doing wrong? You're not doing anything wrong. Because we feel that maybe I have had a belief, or I'm visualizing the wrong way, or I'm not using the right things and I'm doing something wrong. No, you're not. It's working. So if we master this art of holding the duality, knowing physically that, oh my God, it's hard. It's like, ouch, it's hard. But sustaining the feeling that I know it's working. I know it's working. I know. And having that excitement that I know it's working. The fact that it fell apart, there is a way it's coming. The fact that I asked for it, that's why this is the bridge of incidents for me to get there. And when you have this knowing, then you move mountains. Now the question is, and I get it, but how do I develop that state? Because I can't. I go up and down. I can't help myself. I can't. That was me. I can't. And then I found, why is it that we really struggle to develop that state? Why it is that our frequency go up and down? Why is it that for so many years I was up and down, up and down? And when you go up and down, then the creation is up and down, because it's followed by your thinking, your feeling. So how do we maintain that state? What is that secret? What is that thing that people who really understand this do? And I don't think it's commonly said that much. Not on purpose, but I feel that sometimes people don't articulate it the way it should. So I had to really read between the lines. I had to observe those people. I had to see why it is working for them and not me. Why it is that for them maintaining that state is a piece of cake, and for me it's like I can't help but look at my 3D and say, or physical reality, and say it's not working. Why is it that I cannot control how I feel? And there is a very, very simple answer. The answer is that we are not exercising our imagination enough. No matter how much we're exercising, we are not exercising enough. So this is one thing which in psychology they've said that we haven't really understood our mind that much. We are still only understanding 1% of our mind. So when I say we are not exercising our imagination enough, what I mean is that we tend to go and listen to audiobooks. We tend to go and read books. We tend to go and watch training after training. And I think it's incredible. We should do that. I still read books. I still listen to audiobooks. I still attend trainings. Because the more we do it, the more we reprogram our mind into believing that it works. But there is a big piece of the puzzle that we are not dealing with. That is exercising our imagination. We are not exercising our imagination. So yes, we listen to audiobooks, we listen to these things, and it's like it's working, it works. But where are you creating? Imagination is the workshop of our creation, is the workshop of the mind. It's our godlike factor. But where are we doing that? So how often do we just sit down and fantasize? Do we just sit down and daydream? Do we just sit down and say, how would it look like? Let me just really live there, create scenarios, invite my family to that place, seeing myself doing that, creating beautiful images. So one of the things which I heard from Bob Proctor, again, reading between the lines, that he used to sit in hotel lobbies and he would just visualize and daydream, and he would have pen and paper and he would just write all the images down. And whatever you write, it has to manifest by law. But if we spend a lot of time reading audiobooks, let's say we are listening to Think and Grow Rich, Science of Getting Rich, Power of Subconscious Mind, Neville books. Neville and these guys are trying to help you understand that it works. But you're not creating your life. Where is the co-creation? Where are you creating? Where are you feeding your mind? It's not there. We are looking at our 3D and then trying to tell ourselves it works. And then we create more of 3D and we don't understand why it doesn't work. Because we are not exercising our muscle. And this is one thing when people asked Neville and said, why it doesn't work for me? And Neville says it's poverty of imagination and lack of will. Poverty of imagination means that we don't exercise our imagination enough. We are trying to gather information. And I then ask myself, why is it that we do it? Where is that pattern coming from? Okay, Joe, do you have a question?
Right, you know something?
Yeah. Oh, sorry, you want to mute.
Into the book. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
About reading and listening to the audiobooks. That I'm in the gym, and it's just like that you're listening to audiobooks about exercising and reading the books about exercising. But if you don't actually do the exercise, it's never going to develop, is it?
Exactly. Oh, I love this example. Thank you so much.
It's actually clicked to me now. It's like, wow.
Yes. Yes. I love it. This is the best. Thank you so much for being in the gym right now. It makes so much.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow.
So
it's a muscle, isn't it? It's a muscle that you've got to be trained. And
yeah.
Body.
This is such a powerful example. I think we attracted it in our lives. Thank you for being in the gym and thank you for clicking. Exactly. Yeah. So now when we are living in the physical, we are looking at the physical, and then we are reading these books and we are listening to audios, and they make us feel good. Don't get me wrong, because they're telling us it works, and we want to constantly be reminded it works, because it's literally a new way of living. So we need to know that. So I don't say don't read books, but how often are you going to the gym? How often you want to learn how to exercise, right? So it's good to read books about gym. I think it's the greatest example. It's good to learn how to exercise. It's good to watch videos of seeing other people exercising. We need that. But how often we are going to the gym? Because that's when we're going to release the weight. That's when we're going to move the needle. So if we are saying, oh, I can't help it, the problem is we haven't fed enough information, enough data in our mind that it says, you know what, it's happening in your 3D, but you remember, you are there. We are not implanting the desire in the womb of creation, in the subconscious. How do we do it? By visualizing, by feeling. Feeling is the secret. Right? So we are not implanting it. So the thing what I found is, for so many years, my vision was in my conscious. It wasn't in my subconscious. So consciously, I really wanted it. I wanted it yesterday. Subconsciously, where was I implanting it? I wasn't. So I listen, and I think it's a great thing I did. I listened to What is the Waters 90 times, and it really helped me understand science of getting rich, and it really helped me believe. But until I started exercising my imagination, I couldn't co-create. So you're telling your mind it works, and now mind is saying, what do you want to work? And we're looking at the 3D and saying, it's not working. Mind is saying, okay, I'll create, it's not working. And then we're like, I'm reading so many books, I understand it, but it's not working. Because we have not fed our mind enough. So for our subconscious mind, which is the womb of creation, it doesn't know the difference between real and imagined. So people have done, psychologists have done experiments after experiments, thousands of experiments, where people were asked to do that thing in the real world, like in physical, and they were asked to do it in their imagination, and they got the same result. There are all sorts of experiments. If you want to get hold of that, they're more in psycho-cybernetics and in other places. They're everywhere. So the question is, how are we feeding our mind? And when we don't feed our mind, when it's at a conscious level, subconscious is not aligned, we are not taking those inspired actions. We don't know what actions to take. It's not coming. Our intuition is not working because it's not planted yet. It's at a conscious. And then the magnet is not on, because, okay, we are listening and it feels so good and yeah, I believe in my vision. But what is your vision? How often do you daydream? The problem is that I used to feel that it's a waste of time. I rather do and take an action. But visualization, 15-minute visualization, and it's not me, it's who is that? Abraham Hicks, who said 15 minutes visualization is more important than 16 hours of work. Why? We can prove it scientifically. The reason it's so important is because you have to first implant into your subconscious mind, and then what work you do will be guided by your subconscious. It controls us 96 to 98%. But if the goal is not implanted, where are you going? The address is not right. So you're doing 16 hours, but where? What is the destination? So we don't exercise our imagination enough. We don't go to gym. In other words, we want to lose weight, but we don't go to gym. We read all the ways how to go to gym, how to do exercise, how to do everything. Thank you so much, Joe, for this example. But we don't go to gym. And then when something happens, which is the bridge of incidents really, we think, you know what? I'm doing something wrong. Why? Because subconscious is not on board. So subconscious doesn't tell you, because that mind controls us. It doesn't tell you, stay there. You are already there. So the belief is not there. You don't fuse with the belief. When you don't become one with the vision, you don't fuse with the belief, that's when, as soon as the first thing comes which you perceive or we perceive is not taking us there, we are right off the track. What am I doing wrong? And the whole thing is jammed. Like James, the father of psychology, is jammed. The subconscious is jammed. Magnet, the attraction point, is jammed. So we want to exercise our imagination every single day, despite of good or bad. Your job is, I always say that, your job is not to believe. Belief will come when you exercise your imagination enough. Our mind is taking the average of what you're giving. So if you're constantly looking at the physical and reading audiobooks, but just looking at the physical, what is the average? Physical. And how can you expect to live there? So our mind needs more of the end than the physical to get the average of the end. How many times we just sit down and just visualize and daydream? How many times we're driving? We are in the gym, right? You are in the gym, you can visualize, create different scenarios, really live there. So in the beginning, especially because we are implanting it, I would suggest that daily basis have 5 to 6 prompts in the middle of the day, which bring your frequency back up. Because let's be real, we are operating in the physical world. So it's very easy to get impacted by the physical. It's very easy. And the hardest thing is not to get impacted. So we want to have things in place, because we cannot blame ourselves after that or blame our mind. Our mind is just doing what we are feeding. So we cannot say, why I can't live in the end? For everybody else it's a joke. It's just a problem for me. Because we are not feeding. So what I realized was, that for the people who really get this, they got this because they trained their subconscious. And subconscious controls us 96 to 98% anyway. So when they trained it, they don't have to make the conscious effort to convince themselves. Subconscious takes control and say, yes, yes, don't worry. We are there. We've got this. And despite the biggest hurdle, they're like, yay, I'm already there. It's done. So what happened with this guy? The best example to understand this is the guy from the cinema. I think somebody will have to tell me the name again. I always forget his name. Who made Jurassic Park and Jaws? Do you know his name? Like the famous. He's in Think and Grow Rich. Okay.
Spielberg.
Yes, thank you so much, Spielberg. Yes, so I need to write his name somewhere because his example is really good. So with Steven Spielberg, what happened was, look at his story. It's the perfect example to understand self-concept. What he did instinctively, probably we do this in the program. That's what we literally do. Like whatever he did, we are doing it in this program. So he fell in love with the idea of making movies. He went into Hollywood as a tour and he would pretend he was dressed like that. He would talk like that. He would pretend that he has an office there. He would talk like the guard used to say hello to him like he has an office there. He's a director. Like to the point that guard didn't even understand that he's actually going just for a tour. Right? And then he got so into it that he actually bought an office without anything. And he started just spending time there. Then he started making connections with the director, and after a lot of probably he was visualizing and all those things instinctively, they gave him to do a movie. The first movie he did was a big flop. Big flop. I don't remember what was the name, but it went out of budget. It was a flop. It didn't work. And the directors decided he cannot have any other movie because he was quite disappointed. But like one of the things what I've noticed in Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon, he says it all the time. It never dawned on him that it's not gonna work. It never dawned on him. Listen to this. It never dawned on him that it's not gonna work. What does it mean? That not even for 1 second he thought it's not gonna work, or what am I doing wrong? How come? Because when we live in our imagination, when we constantly train our mind, that we don't have to force and convince ourselves. Our subconscious mind convinces us and say, you better keep going. So what if we let subconscious do the believing part? We let subconscious take over the action part. We let subconscious do everything, and we just focus on feeding the mind. What do we try to do? We take over everything and don't understand why it's not working. And subconscious saying, but you're constantly showing me this and you want me to do that, go there. It controls us 96 to 98%. It has access to universal intelligence. It is the womb of creation. It controls all the things we act. It controls what we attract. That's why Neville says you don't have to lift a finger. Why does he say that? So that was something which blew my mind away, because I was thinking we have to work really hard. Then why is Neville saying that? Because your job is to constantly feed your mind, constantly have things in place, and it will take over the action part. Even you won't be able to stop yourself. Even if you try, like whenever self-concept is not aligned, whenever subconscious is not pre-programmed, we try so hard consciously, but we can't. So it wouldn't matter what's happening in the outside, your subconscious will take all the control. And that's where we want to get to. So it's like you're in the zone, you are in the flow, you are delusional, you are like they used to say to Henry Ford, you are cold-blooded, you have no feelings, you're ruthless, you don't see it's not working. And he knew the secret. He trained his subconscious. Our subconscious can believe anything, even if you tell a lie. And we are not telling a lie, we are giving the truth. Actually, we are uncovering the truth. But we are not exercising enough. Neville's answer, we are not exercising our imagination enough. Now the biggest question is, are you going there or are you coming from there? That is this answer. Are you going there? Because if you're going there, you'll never get there. You don't know how to get there. But when you're coming from there, you are there. So now, again, I said, I want to make it really, really, really simple. What can be the things we can use to do that? I want to enlist the things. Okay? Songs, music is really powerful. If you're into music, it's really powerful. I use a lot of songs to get on that frequency. I even give songs that meaning, that this song is telling me this, and I have no idea what the lyrics are. I don't care. For me, it's my own feeling. The song, like, there is a song which is for the house I'm manifesting right now, and I didn't even know the lyrics. Every time I listened to it, I was there. And just a few weeks ago, I realized it's talking about a mansion and looking at the window and all those. So actually, that was the right song. But who cares, as long as the feeling is there. Then some people use crystals to remind them. Look, all these things are tools. Everything is a tool. If you see 111 and it works for you, it works for you. For some people, it doesn't. So anything can work for you. Like in the power of subconscious mind, that son gave his father some rocks and said, if you wear this, you will cure your terminal disease. It was just a rock, but he believed. So it doesn't matter what you're using. You can use a rock. Okay? If you have something very precious, like a watch or a ring, because that's precious, it gives that feeling. Voice notes to yourself. Your self-concept script is the most powerful because you're telling yourself who you are in your own voice all the time. And what I've seen, the powers with the script, you find yourself having those things, doing those things, and acting that way. And it blows your mind, like, wow, I didn't even try. Because subconscious was listening, and it did it. People will start coming and telling you that you're omitting that vibration. They will start giving you those comments, right? One of the other things that people do is they wake up, they visualize, which is really important. Okay, yeah. They wake up, they visualize, and they write their goal. Some people even write their goal 100 times. I find it really hard. For me, feeling is the secret, so I rather feel it. But if that works for you, that is a good thing. You can have a glass which reminds you who you are. You can have a mug. You can have a vision board. Inner talk is really good. Like for 5 minutes, put a timer and have that inner talk. So these things you're exercising. You're actually in the gym now and you're doing the work. Okay? Journaling, creating scenarios. Let's create, like children do, right? Let's create a scenario that I've invited my family, and some of them are very annoying people in my family. They won't be happy to see my new house, but I'm inviting them. And let's see what faces they make. And let's see what kind of comments they say. Oh my God, it's so much fun. And I'm doing this. With the previous house, I visualized that my husband's cousin, he comes to our house uninvited. And he just comes because he wants to just he enjoys the garden, like the big space. And when I saw him, because I was visualizing, I had this weird thing for him. I'm like, do you know you come to our house uninvited? And he hardly sees us, right? But it was so real for me that I had those feelings for him. Like, why do you come to our house uninvited? And if I would have said to him, he would be thinking I'm on drugs or something, because that wasn't in physical, So you can create those scenarios, right? Physically getting closer. What does it mean? Go to that place, go to that environment. And the other thing you can do is you can look at other people who are doing what you're doing, and that will tell your mind it's possible. And other people with the same restriction as you are. So what we think is our big restriction is really not. How can we convince ourselves? By convincing ourselves that it's possible. And the other most important thing is dressing up that way, showing up that way. When you dress up that way, there is something, I know it's very superficial, right? Like our clothes don't define us, but there's something very weird that happens in our mind when we do that. I think I sent some of you guys that reel of one of the sharks, right? That she said that I wore that one coat and it brought me in that frequency, right? So it gives you that feeling, I'm important, I'm special. So when Bob Proctor started wearing suits, he said, I started feeling special. I started feeling like I'm an important person. And sometimes you can say, but I don't have that money to buy all those dresses. Just get one or two and get yourself. She wore for 4 years that coat. She didn't have the money. She got that money and she went and bought that coat. It's not about all these superficial things about that feeling that comes with it. Why did Spielberg started dressing up in suits to do a tour for Hollywood? Who would go and tour Hollywood in a suit? Because he was pretending that he's a director, not for others, for himself. So the biggest example of self-concept is Steven Spielberg. He thought himself in it. He acted himself in it. That's what he did. And that's when the first movie which he did, the things didn't go according to plan. Like everything he ran out of budget. It was a flop. And still, it didn't even dawn on him that it's not possible. And then he made Jaws. And who doesn't know about Jaws? Why? Because he was, I know it's a very negative word to say, but he was brainwashed into it. Like you couldn't convince him. And that's what we're doing with our subconscious. We are telling our subconscious, but we have to go to the gym, not gym, but exercise that muscle. Sometimes what you can do is you can go and journal in a very posh hotel. And then if you can buy something from there, like a pen or something that reminds you is special. One of the other things what Bob Proctor suggested was that you write on a goal card with a pen. Buy a really nice pen. Because when you write with a really nice pen, it gives that power to your goal, that intention to your goal. When you're writing a visualization with a nice pen, it gives that weight to the image. So I don't know what works for each of us, but we have to find what works for us. And we have to go to the gym. We have to be intentional. And to begin with, we have to do it 5-6 times a day. I'm not saying sit on 1 hour of meditation and 6 times your day is gone. 5 minutes in the middle. Few minutes in the middle. Just pause for 5 minutes and start creating scenarios. Pause for 5 minutes and have that inner talk. Not only you will do the action part, but you are also turning on the magnet. Because every time you go there, you are on that frequency. And until you lose the frequency and you start doubting it, you're always on that frequency. So the biggest thing what I see with people is that probably when I do these consultations and calls, people know more than me. I haven't read every single word of Neville's book. I have read most of it and I understand it, but I realize, you know what? It's not working. I still read these books. I still listen to audiobooks. I still do that, but I focus a lot on the feeling part. And my intention every day is how can I vibrate even higher? How can I create crazy scenarios in my mind? What if there was no limit? So instead of when things in the outside change, I go down, I go up. I think I also talked about that song, All the Way Up. Like nothing can stop me. I'm all the way up. That's what it is. Nothing can stop you. You're all the way up. So even when things don't turn out the way you planned, if you choose a new belief and say it's working for me, it's taking me there, it's taking me even faster, oh my God, that's what's gonna happen. So a lot of times what happened with me was I was allowed in some of the groups because I was providing a lot of value, I was doing trainings, and that's how I was getting a lot of leads, right? And some of those people just said, no, we don't want you to do that. They literally access to so many leads, it finished. At that time, all of a sudden I had this, ouch, oh my God. And then I said, you know what? This happened, it means I'm going to get access to 10 times more people. I don't know how, but this is the belief I'm choosing. Why? Because my subconscious was supporting me. Why? Because I was doing the exercise every single day. I was using it. I was using a muscle. So literally within 24 hours, I found another way to get 10 times more people. 24 hours. So what if these negative things put you even on a higher frequency? You realize that I'm asking for more. So the old has to stop so the new can start. If you're saying, I want to go there and the route you're going is slower, of course you're going to change the route. That means you have to take a turn. And turn will be, for the turn you have to stop and slow down and take a turn. But when you're taking a turn like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Oh my God, look, I was going and now it's turning. Oh, you're still there, right? So how we all have to have our feeling plan. Very, very strong feeling plan. And we have to use different muscles. When we are driving, I find the part when I'm driving is the most powerful part, because I can really get in the zone. And I know subconscious takes over. So far, I'm quite safe because subconscious drives, right? So consciously is so beautiful, because when you're driving, you cannot distract yourself. You have to drive. You cannot get up and make a coffee or, do something in the house. You're driving. You have to drive. You have to sit there, right? So it's a perfect time to create scenarios, to make it so real, right? And the more you do it, the more you would have have got the bank balance in your mind to take you to those turns. You know what I mean? Like the more you will have buffer to sustain those feelings and duality, because you're so there. Your subconscious mind is saying, it's not even future, it's past, it's already done. So there's no question about it. Right? And one of the things we need to understand is that whatever you're feeling right now, that's what you're attracting. So whatever you're feeling, the universe is saying, yes, it's working, it's slow, it's not that fast. I think this is not going to happen. I think everything is a yes. So be very mindful of these little tiny voices, like beliefs. They come really subtly. And I still notice them. Oh, this is happening. Oh, this. Sometimes if we see some situation, we start to believe, oh, this is always going to happen. So you have to be really, really mindful. Okay. And all of this piece, while we are exercising our imagination, is all come from the awareness of who we are. So our self-concept. So one of the things, like most of us has done our script now, this is who we are. That is our truth. And whether you fly or you drown, whether you stop or you go fast, whatever happens in the life, you are that person. So you are the one. You are the one in your script. If I'm lying, you have written it yourself. You have accessed your heart and written all of that down. Right? So you are that person. So whatever happens in life, one of my greatest tools is I tell myself, I'm still the one. I'm still the one. So whether we pretend, whether we deny, whether we question it, whatever we do is still the one. Whether life gets hard, whether it gets easy, whether things work, don't work, difficult things are happening, you're still the one. You're one in the script. You have written it down. It has come from a part of you who knows the truth. So listening to a script is really powerful. And then using the things to constantly feel that part. Feeling is really important. Feeling is really, really important. Okay? And one of the beautiful part is that when we turn that things around, law of attraction also work for thoughts and feelings. So once you take conscious control, it will take you right up, because you will attract more thoughts which will support it. So what it needs is that one shift. And the more you have exercised your imagination, it'll be easier to turn those things around and not get in that negative spiral. Because let me tell you this, the things we think, oh my God, this is so bad, this is not working, the things we think are actually the bridge of incidents, really. And one of the other things which have massively helped me, and again, I literally listened in one of the podcasts and I was like, oh my God, this is so good. So which has always helped me is that wherever we are in our life, we are in a pretty good place. We have roof over our head. We have internet. That's why you're listening to the Zoom. You have food to eat. You have clothes to wear. Okay. So worst case scenario, if your vision doesn't happen, we're not going to die. We're not going to be perished, or we're not going to be destroyed. Right? So what if we tell our mind that we're still okay? What if we don't get too attached to it, to the point that our safety, our comfort, our survival, our biggest instinct as a human is survival, that our survival is attached to it? It's not. We are just ascending and ascending and ascending. And what if we take it as a game? What if we play lightheartedly? What if we play like kids play? When we play our favorite game and we're in the zone, we're having fun, we're doing the best. And that is the secret with money. when you're having fun, when there is no fear. Because when the fear of losing is so high, then our mind goes into fight, flight, freeze. And it says, oh my God, if you fail, it's going to be so bad. So it constantly you're focusing on failing. And what if I fail? What if I fail? So when I told myself, if I fail, what's going to happen? I literally sat down and had a conversation with myself. I said, if I fail, what's going to happen? I'll probably not achieve my dreams, that I still have food over my head. I still have a really nice house. I have a nice family. I have love around me, all these things. So if I fail, it's not really that bad. So why not now put my mind into ease and say, I'm safe. My survival is not a question. And then play with a light-hearted frequency where there is no fear, where you can touch those limits because it's okay. Where you know if you even fall down, it's okay. So you're not so scared that you're not allowing yourself to go all in. So I told my mind, it's okay. So now let's give all my attention to the creation, because if the worst case happens, I'm still okay. I'm not going to die. What is the biggest instinct? Survival, survive. And when we attach too much survival to the deadline that we have given to ourselves, or to that goal, or to that vision, we go in that survival mode. And how can we create our purpose, our beautiful life from survival mode? Can't. When we are in survival mode, our digestion stops, our creativity stops, the body is focusing on staying alive. If the animal is chasing us, everything stops and we are only working on our muscles and blood circulation to the muscles so we can run faster. So how can we create our beautiful life, our beautiful vision in survival mode? Can't. So we have to go in that light-hearted frequency. That I'm so grateful right now. It's so good. Even if it doesn't happen, you know what? I'll be okay. I'll be quite okay. And now I'm going to give all my attention to play, because I'll still be okay. There is no worry. There's no fear. Let's go and play. And when you're playing your favorite game, you enjoy, you do your best, you have fun, and there's no fear. Right? So this is really, really important. And every time there is a situation comes in our life, it is a bridge of incidents. Either that situation is telling us that there is a belief that's not serving us, we need to change that, or it's taking us to a different route, or whatever it is taking us there. So what we need to do is we need to stay there. And how do we stay there? It doesn't come that it's only for certain people. I have seen coaches saying that, and it really annoys me that, oh, if you can't stay in the end, it's not for you. It's like, oh my goodness, it is for them. It is for all of us. It's just that they're not exercising their imagination enough. That's why they are struggling to live in the end. Because too much data is fed with the 3D. And one of the things I wanted to say before I close and open for question is that we didn't have a last Wednesday session, okay? And I have got this intuitive hit that I want to do a really powerful session on money. And my intention is that after that session, we all really get money. Like there is no stone unturned. Like really simplify money and really help you understand at all level. But the best way to get the most value out of the session is to do the money program in the membership site. If you haven't done it yet, it's called Become Super Magnet to Money. It's a golden, it has 4 videos and it has got assignments. Okay. So doing every assignment, because assignment is where you do the embodiment, where you do the living part. You learn and you live. The biggest thing is you learn and then you do it, you live it. Until you live it, it's just a theory. It's like we give tests in school, we get degrees, but then where is the implementation? Where did we live it? It's just a knowledge, right? So we want to do all those videos and do their assignments. And if you have done it, might be worth revising it. And then I'm going to announce very, very shortly. It will not be Wednesday because I don't want to impact our Wednesday sessions, but it will be probably the weekend or sometime. I'll make sure that most of us can attend it and there'll be a replay. But I want to do a really powerful session on money. So after that, we all 100% understand money. Like that's my intention. That's my intention I'm setting. That's the vision I'm creating. And I always go for the most crazy ones because I know it works. It always does. So we'll go for it. Okay. But if you do the prerequisite, the money program, that will really help with all of that. And if you have done it, might be worth a little bit revising. So making sure that you're on board. So I'll probably announce it in a week or 2 weeks. Okay. So you'll have enough time to prepare yourself for it. But it's going to be very interactive, and also delivery, and also making sure that you really get it. It's like ABC of everything in the simplified way possible.